In January 2019, a U.S. district court found the Syrian government liable for war correspondent Marie Colvin's death in the shelling of Homs, Syria in 2012. When the court awarded her family $300 million in damages, it did something extremely rare. It held a guilty party responsible for the killing of a journalist.
Nearly 90% of all journalist killings are carried out with impunity. So whenever there's a chance to bring the killers of journalists to justice, it's rare and we have to seize it.
In a column for the Columbia Journalism Review, CPJ Executive Director Joel Simon argues that the United States has another opportunity to bring the killers of American journalists to justice. Two alleged members of the Islamic State cell that murdered James Foley and Stephen Sotloff in 2014 are now in the custody of US-backed Kurdish forces in northern Syria.
We have two suspects who are widely believed to be responsible for one of the most heinous and terrible crimes committed in recent memory against journalists, and we have the possibility to bring them to justice.
There are complications to putting the suspects, Alexander Cote and Ashafia Sheikh, on trial in the US. Both were British nationals before being stripped of UK citizenship, and much of the evidence against them comes from British intelligence intercepts, which courts in the United Kingdom cannot typically admit as evidence. But American courts can accept those intercepts as evidence.
So the United States seems like the logical place to put them on trial. But in order to put them on the trial in the United States, the U.S. Justice Department would need the cooperation of British authorities because they have the evidence. The challenge is the British oppose the application of the death penalty around the world. Because of the nature of these charges, there is a possibility of a death penalty if they are convicted in the United States.
U.S. authorities have so far refused to rule out the death penalty as an option, a major hurdle to British cooperation, and former Attorney General Jeff Sessions raised the possibility of sending a Sheikh and Cote to Guantanamo. The families of both Foley and Sotloff have called for the suspects to stand trial in the United States without the possibility of a death sentence.
The American families, they believe that the imposition of the death penalty could become a rallying cry for Islamist militants or ISIS members, and certainly sending them to Guantanamo would be a kind of publicity gift. You know, you have to keep in mind that all of these hostages were compelled to wear orange jumpsuits by this group because they felt that this was payback for Guantanamo. So the families want them put on trial in the United States, a civilian trial with the normal due process guarantees. They obviously want them to see them convicted. They want to see them punished, but they want to see a fair trial.
And the impact of an open and fair trial could go far beyond simply holding these alleged killers responsible for their crimes.
Impunity in the killing of journalists is routine, and we believe that this record is one of the most fundamental reasons that violence against journalists is perpetuated. An open trial serves several functions. It's the best way to achieve justice. It's the best way to highlight the commitment to democratic principles and fairness and the rule of law. And the trial itself can expose, the inner workings and demystify and in some ways delegitimize these kinds of insular groups which traffic in their reputation of fearsomeness.
Now, newly appointed U.S. Attorney General William Barr has a chance to make such a trial possible, if he'll assure the UK that U.S. authorities won't seek the death penalty for Cote and a Sheikh.
If those assurances are provided, then a very significant obstacle to legal cooperation will be removed. It's a remarkable opportunity. It's a critically important opportunity. We just have to find a way to take advantage.